Hi, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Crafty Folks podcast. Here I have the wonderful, beautiful, amazing Crystal with me. Crystal, do you want to introduce yourself to the three people who don't know you? I'm your whole channel.
Sure. Hi, I'm Crystal. My channel is Hook That Yarn. I basically do fiber arts, spinning, crocheting, knitting. Um, that's what my channel is about mainly. I think that's about it. Back to
That,
you.
that's a good stuff. um, yeah. So, what are you making today for the folks at home?
Sure. So right now, let me take the hook out. I'm working on a panel for a hexie cardigan designed by Adrian from Kiwi's Crochet Corner. So here's how it's looking so far. I have another panel right over there. Do you want to see the other panel?
If you want to show it, you can, but if you don't, that's cool too.
Yeah, I'll show you. It's basically what I did was inverted the colors.
Oh, that's
So
nice.
this back there. So you see how the lighter color and the darker color. This
Mm-hmm.
one has the darker color starting in the middle, and then this one has the lighter color starting in the middle. It's
Oh,
like
that's
basically the same.
so pretty.
Yeah, yeah, she did really well. It's a very, it's kind of like, not to like talk about like other channels too much, but it's very like, I don't know, green. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah, if you make pretty much anything in green, I'm into it. But just like the detail of the pattern, the way it looks, I mean, I think that we all kind of, I'll speak for every crocheter out there, where like we all got kind of hooked in um, yeah, hooked in the the hexagon cardigan, you know, moment of it all. But
Mm-hmm.
I do think that like it can be done so differently. I think we've seen a million and one different like versions of granny stitch hexagon cardigans, and so it's just nice to see something that's not a granny stitch. Not to throw shade on anyone who does that, but like not everyone likes the granny stitch. I personally like don't wear anything that's granny stitch. It's just not my style most of the time.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, she did it uniquely for sure.
Yeah, she went off on that pattern. It's amazing.
It's so nice. It's so pretty. It's a mandala, like, and then it's like, it grows really fast.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
I feel like that like is a big motivator for me to keep going in a lot of projects. Is like if I can see progress and feel progress, like in just like a sitting or two of working on it.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely like to see the growth fast.
Yeah.
Very, what's it called? What is that called? I have a bad time remembering or calling phrases, but like not instant gratification, but kind
Uh,
of similar, where
yeah,
you're
that's what I
like,
was gonna go for. Instant gratification.
because it does take time to do. But yeah, that's what I was looking for.
Yeah, nothing's worse than working on a blanket or something huge, um, and taking spending hours and hours and hours on it, and then realizing that you only made like a centimeter of like progress, and you're like, fuck this.
No, for real. That's how I feel about sometimes about knitting. When I'm knitting, I'm like, this is taking forever.
Hmm.
Like I can't.
Yeah,
And I put it
knitting
down
is.
for a while.
I'm the same way. It's just not fast enough for me. I'm not fast enough at it to feel
Yeah.
like yes, this is the movement. This is the mode.
Yeah. I mean, it's beautiful though. Like the
Oh
things that you can
yeah,
create, but
and like people like I mean I love seeing like knit projects and stuff like that, but I'm like more power to you because that's not for me.
No, for sure. I mean, it depends. Like, I have another project in front of me that's um, I'm working on the side because you know how like you'll work on something with the same color of yarn. I don't know if this happens to you, but you're working on something with the same color. Like this is just black, 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 and I sometimes want to like put it down for a while because I need more colors, like a variety of colors in front of me for me to feel like I don't know. I just get bored of the same color. I don't even know if that's a thing.
Yeah, it's kind of just like just seeing the same thing over and over and over again that just kind of drives you a little bit crazy. And you're like, I just need a change of pace. And sometimes I could be making the exact same thing in a different color, or it could mean using the same color but doing a totally different stitch.
Mm,
Like sometimes, like I'll want to use a yarn, but I'm tired of using it for what I'm working on, but don't want to frog it. So I'll just take the other end of the yarn and just start working on something completely different.
I've done that. I've done that. Yeah, because like different stitches make the yarn look differently, like come out differently. But yeah, what are you working on right now?
So I am working on a alien pattern, and I'm using some trans colors because I'm trying to make as much as I can for Trans Day of Visibility, which is at the end of the month. I'm trying to like pop out a couple like small projects so that I can have something to show for it. Plus, like, I potentially have some medical treatment coming up where I'm not sure how much access I'll have to like computers and like cameras and things like that. So just trying to get stuff made ahead of time so that if I disappear off the map for 2 months, it's like, well, at least there's something to watch if anyone misses me that much.
It's good forward thinking.
It's
Yeah,
taken a lot of practice and then a lot of times being institutionalized for that forward thinking to happen.
forward thinking is not my strong suit. Any like you like so. I'll go like weeks without posting. So and I'm just crafting in my little craft hole. I don't know what to call this.
Stick it up your craft hole. No, I'm the same. Like I've gotten better at it because I did so like a couple years ago, I think, at this point. I did take like a year and a half long like uh break from posting anything because I just was like dealing with like such a bad depression. And then coming back to YouTube, it just was like an entirely different like world. Like I struggled so much with like getting people to like be able to see my content and stuff like that because I just like fell off the algorithm's map or something.
Mm.
And it was just really hard to like get anybody to watch anything that I did because I just wasn't around and didn't seem like a consistent poster. So now I try to be like a little bit better, even though I don't think a week or two is going to make a big difference.
I muted and I'm sorry. Like you tell people I'm on live right now, and they're like, sure, and then
Yeah.
but I
That means
muted
you can, oh, you're on live, meaning you can take a phone call, and you're like, no.
them. No.
Yeah. I think I forgot who it was. It was either a doctor's office or like my disability lawyer or something. And I was like, you can give me a call back anytime today or tomorrow. The only time I'm not free is from 1 to 2 today or something like that. And of course, guess what time they called? Like
Like one.
literally like in that time. And I was just like, I told you.
I told you I'm not available. It's like it's like that. It's like people can sense that you're trying to do something.
Mhm.
But yeah. Um, so, so how's it going with the? That's such a beautiful blue.
I am obsessed with it. It's so pretty. This is like such a like this is a huge inspiration to like my own yarn dyeing experience and like what I wanted from it. Because so this is Lion Brand ice cream yarn. It's a 3-weight yarn. This is the color Cake Batter. And it's perfect like trans pride colors. It's also just great like baby colors or whatever. But it has like a light pink, a darker pink, a light blue, a darker blue, and then it has white. And so like it just gives a lot of like personality, and I love using it. And I think when I used this yarn for the first time, which was for a hexagon granny cardigan,
Mm.
um, I just had so much fun using it. It's such a nice texture. Like I don't use a lot of Lion Brand yarn because it never seems to go on like good sales, in my opinion. Like not as good as like the sales around it. Um, but it really is like I mean just like a nicer yarn than a lot of what I typically use. So it just feels good in my hands.
See, I agree with that. Any lion, any like lion brand I have, and when I feel the quality, it's very nice. Like it's a very like I don't know if it's like a premium acrylic or what's going on there, but
Hmm.
it's pretty soft. And then their colors are very vibrant.
Hmm.
So lion brand's good.
Yes, I definitely agree. And I love the idea, like, I love what they did with the skin tones. Like, that was, like, to me, it was, like, so, like, revolutionary. Um, I thought, and it, like, maybe it shouldn't be revolutionary, but I still want to give, like, credit where credit's due. Like for those of you who don't know what the skin tones are, so Lion Brand basically came out with I think they initially released 8 or 10 colors, and I don't think they've added on, but it's a pretty comprehensive like color option, and basically from like the fairest of fair skin tones to like the deepest of deep skin tones, they had like a whole nice beautiful range of color, so that you can make dolls and things like that, and like I just think as someone who like did makeup for a long time and seeing how like the lack of diversity in like foundation shades, concealers, like just like blushes, like just everything was so bad. And then 10 years ago, 15 years ago, it was obviously way worse. So seeing
Hmm.
like options like that, like permeate into the space of yarn is really exciting to me because if you go to any one line, they might have like 2 or 3 shades of some kind of beige or to brown. And so getting like a good skin tone for someone who is like, maybe like, or just like anyone who's not light beige or deep dark brown, like there really just weren't options for those people. Um, and so I'm really hoping my dream is that one day Lion Brand releases cotton skin tones because like that would be amazing for like making packers because it's taken so long to find colors for packers all in one line, and that would like change my life for real.
Yeah, it would be amazing. Like, um, I've never does Lion Brand have a cotton like that would be a smart release for a yarn, right? Because they have a lot of acrylic and they have some, I think they have some like wool blend yarns.
Mm-hmm. Like
And they,
Scarfy is Lion Brand, right?
yeah, they have those. But I don't, that's what I'm saying. It would be a smart addition if they had gotten a cotton.
I know they have a cotton blend. I don't know if they have a 100% cotton. They do have the I think that it's called. So it's not. I always get confused on the name because they have like 40 variations on the name, but I think it's like just like it's not softy baby cotton, but it's like softy cotton something or other. And when I bought it to do a project of Dana's from Triple C, um, and she used that yarn, and it was very soft, and I'd never really used cotton before, and I was really excited to do it, and I got it in a black color. Um, but I was gonna start making like some gender affirming wearables with it, and I
Hmm.
didn't realize that it wasn't 100% cotton until I started working with it. I was like, this doesn't feel like just cotton. And then I look, and it's like a 50-50 blend cotton acrylic, and I'm like, oh, can't use it. This
No,
sucks.
because I know they had Lion Brand comfy cotton blend, comfy cozy cotton blend, something, and I always get the name wrong.
Yeah, their names are confusing.
But no, that would be smart. I'm trying to look at my yarn, but none of it's got labels on it, so it's not like it's helpful. I'm kind of an airhead a little bit. Sorry.
I'm totally at that point in my day where like my brain is like, meh, meh, meh.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry. You get it. You get it. Okay.
I get it. I was talking to my wife earlier, and she's like, "My brain's like cottage cheese," and I was like, "While I understand that, I hate cottage cheese." Did I say cottage cheese? She said cottage cheese, and I was like, "While I get that, I hate cottage cheese so much that I don't even want to think about it being in my brain case." I was like, "So I like to say that my brain's oatmeal," which she doesn't like oatmeal, so I guess it works out for both of us equally. But yeah, I just am like, nope, nothing's going on up there. Nothing's firing.
It works when it wants to.
Yeah, my
Definitely
mind has
knows
a
how to
mind of its
crochet.
own.
Hmm?
My mind has a mind of its own.
Nice. I don't know. I know muscle memory. No,
Yeah,
that's crochet. So,
it's nice on days where you can just rely on that.
yeah.
Although sometimes if I'm like having to really think about a pattern or something like that, and like I can't like just rely on just like remembering it, I'm just like, what am I doing? And I'm like, how do I single crochet again? Like if I think about having to like before I made like a lot of like pattern videos and like wrote patterns and stuff, I would be like, how do you do a single crochet again? I just had like a moment where my brain was just like, nope, you're not doing that.
It's like, I forgot. I forgot. But then you just start doing it and you know how to do it.
Yeah.
So I'm using Red Heart, and it's not the softest, but I do love Red Heart.
Hmm.
But that's the black I'm using for this.
Hmm.
And I'm hoping like it was getting like a little separation anxiety from itself.
Yeah. It was having separation and giving you anxiety.
Yes, exactly. I don't
Yeah.
know what it was trying to do, but it wasn't yarning the way it was supposed to. So
Yeah.
hopefully that does not does not happen again because they get it together.
Yeah. I know like there's a lot of people who like have like elevated their I'm using air quotes like elevated their like yarn where like now they don't use acrylics or like they don't use value acrylics, and like while like I understand like for some people like environmental reasons trump like costs and stuff like that, like it's just not like a reality for some of us, or it's just like there are values and there's value in using plastic yarn because that's what acrylic is, and it'll
Hmm.
like last forever and it's easy maintenance and stuff like that. Um, but there are a couple value brands that are always the cheapest. Red Heart Super Saver being one of them. Big Twist Value being another one of them, where
Mhm.
like I can either like love working with it or I despise it. And like with Red Heart, for me, it's like the scratchiness. If I can't touch it in store, if I order it online, I'm going to get the scratchiest skein ever made. It's a guarantee.
It's true. It's true. I mean, I don't have a problem with red heart. You can soften it in the laundry, and because it's acrylic, you can throw it in there, you know?
Hmm.
Obviously, like pilling and stuff happens because, but for the most part, it's really durable and I love it. That's all I used to purchase when I was starting out with my crochet business was like acrylic because I would make more on the amigurumi side. It depends on what you're making or what the customer like wants or whatever. But yeah, my whole stash is basically acrylic yarn, and the nice yarns I have are like I won on giveaway. So sorry.
Well, you're also like a super amazing yarn spinner, so I know you have a decent amount, decent, especially compared to me, amount of wool available, which I think is so cool because I want to build up my confidence so that the wool yarn I do have, I have more confidence to use. I just I have to frog so frequently because I either am not paying attention or I can't read patterns half the time. Um, that
Yeah.
like frogging wool just gives me just like so much anxiety. The thought of it is just like no.
No, I get you. And then it like tangles on itself. I mean, it's worse with like roving. With roving, when you use it, you have to mean it, or
Yeah,
bad things will happen to you.
bad things.
My goodness. I mean, I haven't had, depending on the like, this is all like income tax purchases. Don't get me wrong here.
Hey, no judgment, no judgment.
We aren't, I'm not bougie for the most part. Mm, Hopefully, I don't know. I can sustain my way of life with all this fiber around me because it's so nice and soft. But it's very expensive. Like wool is not cheap to purchase in fiber form or hand spun form. So
I just don't
yeah.
think that like yarn or really anything in general is cheap anymore. Like everything is just so expensive all the time, and I'm just waiting for like someone to be like, you know what, we jacked up the prices too much. Let's step back from this. But it never happens.
Right?
It only gets more expensive.
It really does though. It's the cost. I mean, minimum wage raises every year. The cost of living goes up, and everything else does. I just
Does
want to
minimum
cheap.
wage change?
Hmm?
Does minimum wage change? Because like,
Well, in our city, yeah, because
oh, that's nice.
it's such a big city that the minimum wage just keeps going up, and then everything else equals. It equals out, and then everything gets expensive again. So it's like, what is the point of this increase of minimum wage?
What's interesting is like so where I live in North Carolina, like the income tax has not changed since it the federal income tax changed or federal sorry, not income tax, the federal minimum wage
Yeah.
changed. So so it's still 7.25 here. But like the cost of living has obviously changed quite a bit. So
Hmm.
it's like it's not reflected in, you know, what people are actually making,
Yep.
which
Yeah.
sucks for a lot of folks.
Like, I don't know, for saving and things like of that nature. That's how I think of it, as like, okay, so it's this amount per hour you get paid. and you just basically spent an hour of your life, and here's a cup of coffee. So
Yeah, exactly.
you're exchanging your time for money. Time is all we have, really. So
Yeah.
I don't want to get philosophical, but
Get philosophical. I like it.
yeah,
I never watched it, but do you remember? I think it was a Justin Timberlake movie or something, or like it
I
was
don't.
some handsome guy's like movie about like how you paid for everything with like time off of your life, and like
Mm-hmm.
once you're out of time, then you were dead.
Yep.
It was called like I don't know, like Just in Time or something dumb
I
like that.
I remember them. I've seen that movie. He basically in the slums you have to like I don't know, and then you can steal time and I guess at the end, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen it by now, right?
Yeah,
He steals enough time, like unlimited time. Like I don't remember how that happens, but I don't know. I'm kind of still mad at Justin for the whole Britney Spears thing, so I don't know.
mhm. Yeah. I mean, like that's fair. Feel your feelings on that one. That's
Yeah.
totally fair. I didn't follow like much of that. I don't really follow a lot of celebrity news, and like I like Mel does, my wife does, but like it's not really like my thing, so I just
Yeah.
generally don't. But um, I mean, it it did not sound good. It did not sound good at all.
So it's a hot mess of things that aren't my business. You know? It's like I don't why are we I don't really follow celebrity gossip like that, but you're scrolling through like you scroll through Facebook or YouTube and you see like reels and things. Is that loud? Can you hear my loud fan starting?
I can hear it. It doesn't bother me, and then it quieted down like almost
So
immediately.
it's not something you can hear?
I can like very slightly hear it if I'm like looking for it, but it's not enough to impact me. When it turned on, I can hear it, but that's
Let
it.
me put it right here. See if that helps. But yeah, I was joking when I said I'm like I have a very dry sense of humor where I think that most people can't even tell I'm joking and it's really bad. Like most of the time, like my mom can't pick up on my sarcasm and she thinks I'm being honest.
Hmm.
It's really bad. I need
Yeah.
to work on that, I guess. I don't know.
I no, I totally understand it. I'm kind of the same way where like I wouldn't say mine is like necessarily dry, but like I like everything I say is always so sarcastic that
Yeah.
a lot of the times like it's really hard to um for people to figure out if I'm being sarcastic or if I'm being straightforward, and then I have to kind of like really like specify like that was that was the joke, or like that was not a joke.
Yeah.
um, and I have to like spell it out for people because I my tone I guess is so confusing or something. But
I completely get that. My I want to say sister-in-law, my niece's mom, she gets me. She's like, "Crystal, I love how sarcastic you are." I'm like, "You get me." It's really nice.
isn't it great to find people around you that just get it and like you don't have to like explain yourself around that?
Yes, it is. But sarcasm is just my default. So it is really nice.
Yeah,
I'm
it's
not like always explaining myself. She just gets it, you know?
nice. So nice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mel and I are the same way where like we both have a very similar sense of humor. Um, so, I don't often like have to be like, I was joking or anything like that. I think that was one of the things that we first like connected on, was that we both just had this like kind of like absurd, like silly, but like also could like turn very serious, and like, but we would be able to like identify when like the person was joking or when they weren't, and it made a huge difference. And I find that a lot of my friends now are like the same way as us, where like it's just like you know, like we get when someone's joking more times than not.
Mm-hmm.
Like sometimes I'm like, I wasn't totally fully paying attention to like your face or like your thing, so I don't actually know if you're joking, so I might have to give the old double check.
I
Um,
get you.
oh,
Give me one sec. Well,
I
that was
made the
good.
mistake of using like a locking stitch marker, and I didn't lock it, so it just like tumbled right off.
No.
Now I gotta figure out where my
It was good timing because someone's knocking on my door, because I told them I was going live, so obviously they want to
mhm.
interrupt me.
Yeah.
I call this a live because they don't understand the other. I'll be right back. I'm so
Okay.
sorry.
I'll just
I'm
pause it.
constantly being interrupted. 17.
All good.
Hmm?
Yeah, it's that like it's the paradox of just like the minute that you are busy, someone's gonna be like, "Hey, can I grab your attention real quick?" And you're like, "Motherfucker!" Like I've been free all day or whatever, and nobody cared. But the minute that I'm busy, it becomes a problem. It's so annoying.
No, for real. Or like, I've had a thing where I hit record on my thing, my camera thing. I know words. And all of a sudden there's just like yelling, like, who are you people? Like, can you sense that I've hit record? What are you doing? Like, stop it now. But
Been there, done that. I understand so much.
mhm.
Yeah, I like I'm better about doing it now because it used to happen all the time, and I couldn't help my face. Like we've talked about, like not being able to like control our faces, from like showing exactly what emotion we're feeling.
Right.
Um, but like I would try to be recording a video, and I would press record, and within 15 seconds, Mel would open the door to like the hallway that separates where she works and where I do my videos, and she
Hmm.
would start talking to me, and I would just like I'd pause it, and I'd just like glare at her, and she was like, like she would just it would like take her aback because she didn't think it was like a big deal because maybe like she didn't know when I was recording or like she didn't know if I was going to be recording. So because like I still crochet here even if I am not like making a video or something, and so she'll just be like, that's not a great way to like greet your partner is like with like a like disgusted look on your face, but I couldn't help it. At least I thought I couldn't. So I've had to train myself to be like, before I like, before I like, I'll pause it, and then before I look at her, I'll just be like, no big deal, and then I'll like school my face, and then I'll look at her, because like no person should have to deal with that. But
It's
I
so
could I just if I don't think about it, the face will come out, and I just you know it's not always pretty. Usually isn't.
I think that's great though. It makes for some fun, light-hearted blooper reel type thing, like,
Yeah,
because what's the fun in being like fake or anything? You know what I mean? Just
yeah. Yeah. If it like for me, if it was like just me, like interact like or like my thing, like I usually keep that in because I'm like, yeah, I'll just like show like my shit. Like I'll show that I, am an idiot. Like if like sometimes like I'll like spill my drinks like all over and I'll be like, motherfucker or something like that. And I think feel like that's funny to keep in because like one, I think it is funny, and then two, like it happens to the best of even the most
yeah.
coordinated person is going to spill a drink every once in a while. I happen to spill my drink almost every day because I'm very uncoordinated.
I
I
am
don't think
too.
that's normal. Like Mel's like very private, and I want to like always respect her privacy as much as
Oh,
possible. So I
definitely.
would never like if I like had that like if we had like a moment between us or something like it would never be like on camera on purpose because it's just not the style that we live our relationship like. Which like you any kind of way that you have your relationship is like totally fine, but it's just not what we do.
No, yeah, definitely though. Yeah, I try to not put my husband in things as much as I can.
Mhm.
Although I don't know if he minds or not. I
I'm
think.
always asking my wife to be in things. Like I know that the answer will most likely be no, but like I'm like I'll ask. The worst she can say is no. It's like no big deal. If she doesn't want to do it, it doesn't hurt my feelings. But like certain things, like the podcast, and like hey, like because I was like hey, like I said like maybe this was a couple days ago, and I was like just like for like future, I think this could be a cool idea if you want to do it. But because this is called the Crafty folks, I don't know about your experience with crafting. Actually, I know enough about it to know that you struggle with a similar thing where it's like we kind of like sometimes create like a wake of chaos in our, or just like just a bunch of chaos in our wake. And so I wanted to get her perspective as like the spouse and partner to someone who was crafty because like
Oh wow, yeah,
she's like the anti-craft. She doesn't have like anything she doesn't have a problem with me crafting, but
yeah,
like if I'm like, "Hey Mel, would you have any interest in learning any kind of craft at all?" She's like, "Absolutely not." She hates it. It makes her miserable. I can't relate because I love like even the crafts I'm bad at, I love to some extent, right?
right.
Working with
Yeah.
my hands is really satisfying, but I've never met someone who hates crafts as much as she does.
She's
Um,
anti-craft.
but I thought it would be funny because, like, it takes up a lot of room. It makes a lot of mess, like all this stuff.
Yes. Get the
Um,
perspective, like, why is there so many crochet hooks over here? How come your yarn is migrating from your craft table? And that's how I am. I have yarn everywhere.
Same.
It's everywhere.
Do you have any like funny places you've like found yarn or like crochet or craft supplies, or just like odd places?
What's an? I mean, I don't know. I don't think anywhere I've put yarn is odd. Let me think though.
It belongs everywhere, so it's not weird.
Like that. Uh, right now, I'm pretty confined to my Craftolio room,
Mhm.
this place, but I'll bring it to the room. But there's no odd places. I mean, there's some yarn in the kitchen under the chair, but I'm not exciting like that. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know if mine's exciting or not, but like one of the places I do crochet, like if I want to like crochet in front of the TV so that I can hang out with Mel
Hmm.
while like we watch TV and crochet, like I'll bring like the yarn I need. And sometimes I have like baskets like this or something where I'll have like the whole project in a basket. And sometimes I just have like 8 skeins of yarn that I bring. And so like the whole coffee table is like covered in like craft supplies. And then like the couch, like sometimes it gets so bad because like we have a couch, like a 3-seater couch and a love seat. And like the couch is basically mine and the love seat's basically Mel's. And sometimes it's so bad that like half the couch is like covered in just like multiple skeins of yarn from just like several projects. Some are finished, some are not. Like so there's like half finished projects there. But like so like sometimes if I fall asleep on the couch when that happens, I'm like curled into a little ball and there's just like half the couch is just yarn.
So comfy.
Yeah. I don't want to like tangle it up, so I try to like make myself real small. Which isn't hard in one sense because I'm very short, but it's hard in another sense because I'm not very small in the widthwise department. And but often every at least once a week I try to like clean off the couch or something to like like put the yarn back where it belongs and whatnot. But so often I'll be like, oh, I dropped my crochet hook, it must have fell like behind like the cushions of the couch. And so I'll be digging in there and I'm just like clown car like pulling yarn skein after yarn skein after hook after this after that out of my couch. I it's like I feel like
I
I'm
can
like
imagine.
one step away from being on orders, or like my strange addiction. I feed my
Interesting yarn.
couch like yarn or something.
I
I
don't
don't.
think that's pretty normal though. I've heard the things like stories about yarn and craft rooms and totally normal to pull yarn out of like the other day when I went upstairs, I had some yarn attached to my foot.
Oh,
I didn't realize
that's
it.
the worst. Was it attached to like a skein or a hank or something?
Yeah. It was attached to this little elefante. It was attached to the elephant and like I pulled yarn through the house.
Oh no.
I've I mean, I've done that on occasions when I walk and crochet and people will tap me on the shoulder like, "Hey, you lost your yarn a while back, so I have to backtrack a little bit."
Yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah.
That's
When I was untangling all of that trans pride yarn that I dyed, um, uh, halfway through, because I made it like more than halfway through, and then I like set it down as I would because I just couldn't do it all in one sitting. It was so tingly. And then I got up, and I guess I just wasn't being mindful of like my body, and I like walked maybe like 20 feet that way, and I felt something on my foot, and I looked down, and the yarn is like hooked on my foot. Um,
it's like, "Hey, where are you going?"
yeah.
Um,
No, don't leave.
no, please.
And uh, yeah, basically I had to redo all of the detangling because it had like messed everything up so bad. It was, I mean, granted, the stuff I had already detangled, it was easier to detangle the second time, but it still was annoying to have to do it again.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Like, I couldn't. You're doing, you're getting it untangled, right? Like, you're sticking with the untangling. Like, you're going to do
Yeah,
this.
yeah, I already did, I finished the untangling yesterday, I think. So I
Yeah.
posted a TikTok and Instagram where I like kind of like went through the process a little bit. I got it all caked up on my yarn winder here, that's on my table. And then I put it through the knitting machine, like my circular knitting machine, just so I could see how it looked worked up and make sure that like kind of from like the start to finish, it was like relatively consistent throughout. And like, luckily it was, but cotton on the knitting machine isn't like the best and
Yeah.
easiest to use material because it tends to split. Um, but it's still, I mean, I got it done eventually, but I, might have developed like more wrist problems than it was worth to do it that way rather than just like crochet something with it. But I thought that would be the best way because I could see those like tiny little V stitches and make sure
Yeah.
there's a good distribution. Um, do you want to see what it looks like knit up?
Yeah. I was going to ask. I was like, yeah.
Turn my camera off.
Because, like, I know with the knitting machine, it's very fidgety with many different types of yarns, you know?
Hmm.
So, but like, I want to see how it planned out. Like, imagination. Ooh, a QR
My
code.
boxers, so I didn't want to subject everyone to that.
My camera's so fuzzy. That's better. I have to like.
Okay, back. And this one worked out pretty well. It was in my first batch, which I thought had too much blue and not enough pink. But it turned out pretty cool. This is in tube mode, so I haven't done. It's 100 grams. This is 100 grams knit up. I haven't done the math for like yardage, but it's pretty consistent throughout,
It
and
is.
I'm
Explain.
just like really happy with it. I think maybe a little bit more white showing would be ideal, but it has more pink than I thought it would. But I think maybe a touch more pink might be good. I can't wait to see what the second batch looks like because that has more pink.
I love that. Oh my goodness.
But
Hello.
pretty good, right?
Yes. Woo-hoo. Mm, mm, mm.
Beautiful, weird short scarf.
I love it. And that's 100 grams. So is it the little those 100-gram balls?
So I bought mine on the cone just so it would be cheaper. So I bought a cone of peaches and cream. So I got four 100 grams hanks out of it. So this is one of the hanks. And I just separated it by like weighing it on a food scale
Yeah.
and like putting it on my Swift and just measuring it that way. So I
That's
can like approximate yardage through like math.
yeah. No. Yes.
And I don't have to use like my knitting knot or knit
Yeah,
tape.
you can calculate yards with weight. Yes. I actually have a formula on my channel to show how to do that. But you probably already figured it out. I was just mentioning it.
Oh, I'll definitely have to check that out. And if you want to send me the link, then I can post that in the description so that other people can use it. Because, see, because mine had both yardage and weight, I can just like, do some conversion
Yeah.
to like how much does like a yard weigh in this particular yarn, and then I
Hmm.
can do the math that way. Um,
It's really nifty the way math can help us in life. I never thought I would really use, like, I don't know.
yeah.
You know what I
Well,
mean?
yeah. I mean, well, I kind of have a I would think semi unique perspective on it because I was a math major,
Hmm.
and so like I loved math, and like the biggest thing people would say is like I hate math, especially like the parents of the people I was tutoring when I was tutoring, like my way through school. Like the parents would say that they hate math, so like then the kids would hate math because their parents
Mm.
couldn't help them, and like everyone was frustrated. But like the minute that something starts to like click with math, like it's
Hmm.
so rewarding. And I talked with Winter earlier about like being just like an emotional person, and like the good thing about math, it's just like basic math, not like crazy theoretical stuff, is like that like there's a right answer. Like
Hmm.
it's just like it's clean cut. It's like a right answer or not. It's not subjective like at all, and it like transcends like language and all of these things. Um, I was recently watching the story of like um, a person who immigrated or emigrated. I never know the difference, and I feel like an asshole. But every time I look it up, it still makes less sense to me. But they moved, so it's like their parents moved their entire family from Russia to to the U.S. when
Hmm.
they were the guy was 5, and he didn't know any English, and neither did his parents. Only his older sister knew some English, and so he just like he knew 3 words in English, which was like yes, no, and maybe. And so like to like in school, like when he was like introduced in school, like his teacher was like asking him questions, and he would just randomly say one of the 3 words he knew. But he said like one of the subjects that he like did well in, and I think this is so great for people who um, are in any culture that's like doesn't generally speak their first language, is like math transcends like all of that. um, and it's really cool to see like that happen. I really like that. But I understand why a lot of people don't like math, but I don't like English. A lot of people like English. Like we can all have different things that we like, we're good at. But now my brain, because my concussion and my mental illnesses, like my brain's kind of oatmeal. And so like just like looking at numbers, like they start to kind of like move on me, and like everything just gets really like my brain just like stops. So anything above like very simple math, I can't even imagine doing now, even though I was doing like very complex like applied math um,
Hmm.
before. It doesn't happen like that anymore.
I mean, like, okay, crochet is math.
Yeah.
Amigurumi definitely
Hmm.
is whatever's in the parentheses added together and multiplied. It's what you get for the final stitch count.
Yeah.
So it's just,
Especially when you're writing your own patterns, whoa, that becomes like both art and math like so fast.
yeah,
Um, that's been like a really big stretch for me of writing patterns, is like, how do I map this out, like, and make it make sense?
definitely. Definitely. I think it depends on what you're doing, like what kind of project you're making. But yeah, I definitely, um, I don't know. I see math as being a very applicable thing in crochet design. Not that you said it wasn't, obviously, but I'm just saying, like, yeah, or just adding up all of the stitches at the end and
Oh
putting
yeah,
it there can be daunting, but
yeah. Or even like if you messed up, but you don't want to like frog or like undo all your work trying to like math your way back to like where you should be. Like
mm,
sometimes that is like sometimes it's just not worth taking things apart. So you
hmm,
just like try to figure out how to fix it when you're at the stage that you're at, rather than going back. I know I do that more times than well, I mean, to be honest, I mean, I'm working on this hand for my doll, and
hmm,
I had made it probably, I'd started and stopped and undone at least like 10 times. And then once I got to a stage where I was finally feeling good about the shape and like the way that the hand was looking, I put it like next to the doll and the proportions were wrong. So it's like, oh, I have to restart. And like
hmm,
the pattern that I'm writing already had two different hook sizes used, and I needed to use a smaller hook size for the hand to get the
right.
detail. So now it has three hook sizes, and I feel awful. I'm just like, I'm so annoyed with myself.
I mean, I don't think that's a bad thing. I've purchased like the Pokemon patterns. I don't know if you the Sabrina Summer Pokemon book.
I don't know if I've seen that one.
Well, she uses multiple hook sizes for like say the eyes.
Oh.
Um, the stitches will be closer together, so she'll go down a hook size from what she originally had.
Mhm.
I'm sorry about my heater. It's really loud, and I think it's loud. Is it loud?
It's fine now. It's just like when it turns on, I can hear it for like maybe 10 seconds, and then it pretty much goes away, I think. But also, like, my computer fan is really loud all the time, so I'm
Like,
not one to talk about anybody's audio.
no, I'm sorry. I turned it off the last time we did um, our recording and stuff, so it's very loud. But yeah, she has several hook sizes in her book, so I don't think it's as long as the people making it have the right hook size, then you're good. Like,
Mhm. Well, that makes me feel better. So thank you.
yeah,
Because I was like, I was mad that I had to use two hook sizes. And the reason why I did is because I actually started the project with this hook that I'm using, which is
mm-hmm.
a C, it's 2.75 millimeter. And then I couldn't find this hook for the longest time. And also, it was creating pretty big holes because I was using a one weight yarn, and I wanted it to be like very compact if possible.
Right.
One of my stitches to be tighter, so I moved down to a 2.25 because I did not have another 2.75, and I really liked the way that the 2.25 looked. But then for the hands, because I need so much detail in them, the 2.25 was making the hand too big, and I didn't know how to make it smaller, like, and get all the details of like fingers and stuff like that,
Yeah.
like individual fingers. So I moved down to a 1.75,
I
and I'm
also
liking it better so far.
I don't think the hook size should be like it's not an issue for me personally because like I have a. Have you seen that Mario pattern with the fingers? There's like a realistic hand. You know how Mario's hands, like he has fingers, like we all have fingers on our hands. Can we like erase this? This part?
No, I'm keeping it because it's so cute. But also, like, I mean, you're not doing anything that I wouldn't do and trying to like explain words.
Like you know how hands have fingers?
Yes, I do know how most hands have fingers. Yes.
There's a Mario pattern, and his hands are opposable. They move around. So for that particular pattern, she went down a few hook sizes for the same yarn weight just for the hand. So I feel like it's super common. I think it's more common than you know what I mean than you would
I
think.
guess I've just never done any pattern like this, which probably should have done in hindsight, should have done to make like a better pattern. But like I've never made like a doll, especially not like a figurine, to this size. But the hand, so I'll show you what the hand looks like. So this is like the redone hand, and I'm also making it posable. So like here's the first finger. But then I put some wire in it and I'm crocheting around that. But this is a lot better size than what I had before. I could, because the fingers are like separate pieces, it was like I can't even frog this. I tried. But like here's like the hand size comparison.
Mm-hmm.
So it's smaller enough where like I think it's the right dimensions. And this wasn't didn't even have like a wire or like anything posable in it because I was like, I'm just gonna stitch it. But then I was like, wouldn't it be cool if it was posable though?
Yeah, I
So I'm
would.
keeping that as an option.
I love that. It's like draft one, draft two. Hey,
Draft 179.
that's how it is. That's how it is, man. It's I've some of the patterns I've designed and stuff like you go through multiple phases of it and you're like, okay, I don't like that anymore. And so you just revise it and you know, nothing wrong in that game. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
Gosh,
it's a big trial and error process. I
yeah.
remember when I was talking to Winter about pattern design. Winter generally makes like several of the pattern that. Oh my gosh, did I misgender them?
No.
Okay. I don't know why I thought I did, but I was like, oh shit. If I did, I do apologize. But but they were saying that when they make a when they make a pattern, design a
Mm-hmm.
pattern, they will make multiple versions of it, like over, like they'll like check over and over and over again.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like I try to be as detailed and like take as many pictures like throughout the process, and I
Yeah.
will only make it once. For my awareness ribbon pattern hat, I did make that twice in two different colors just to show that it could be made in two different colors
Okay.
or like multiple colors. But that was really the only reason I did that. It wasn't to like test the pattern itself. But I'm like, that's what pattern testers are for. Let
Yeah,
them.
yeah, definitely. And if it comes out the first time, is there a need to do it multiple times? I understand that.
Yeah, like for me, the biggest thing that I have to tackle with pattern making is like making sure it's easy enough to understand. I do try to
Mhm.
put like plenty of pictures in there, um, but I still feel like I need like sometimes like if you're kind of like making up a way to do a stitch, it
Yeah.
can be very difficult to just say like do this. and have it be like easily understood.
Definitely. I could see, like, if you were trying to describe a stitch and like how to do it. For the most part, I mean, it depends for me on what I'm making. I did a reversible pumpkin,
Ooh.
and I used to do this thing called Freestyle Fridays where I would just go on a live and like design something
Whoa.
freestyle. And from it's kind of, I don't know, I wanted to do it to just show how the process of making a pattern was for me.
Hmm.
And I designed several things with it, but I made this reversible pumpkin. And the first time I did it, I didn't like how it came out, so I revised it and stuff. And I like
Hmm.
how it came out the second, third time, so I kept it like that.
Hmm.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Tell me about like how that like works. Is it like one of those like octopus
Yeah, I
toys,
can
like
show you.
reverse like that, or was it something different?
It's exactly like that. Uh, so mm, I just dropped something.
Story of my life.
So basically, so this is the first one. This is the
Oh,
first
it's so cute.
I was thinking, you know how a pumpkin has the guts?
Oh, I like that.
So his meh face.
I love that.
And then you reverse it, and it's just like a happy little pumpkin. But this was the first one I did, and see how the yellow is underneath? I didn't like that
Hmm.
when attaching it, so I redid it. And it looks kind of like whoops. I also put the face on backwards when I was doing the freestyle. It's like you turn it inside out and it should be right here, but I'm turning it
Oh,
around. So this is
I
like,
wouldn't have even thought about that. Yeah. I mean, it's fine to me, but like, I could see how if you wanted it to do that, that would make sense.
yeah. So this is my first, and when I was designing it, I'm like, what if I put little teardrops that are in the shape of pumpkin seeds?
Hmm.
Because why not? But this is what it wound up looking like, and then I redid it, and this is like, so I flip it inside out, and I decided to put the top portion on the top. You know how?
Ooh, yeah, I like it when you like scoop it out and stuff.
Exactly. See, you get it. You get it.
That's so cute, and I love the expression. That is adorable.
But then it's kind of hard to. Yeah. So, like little mood pumpkins, but.
I like it. So that pattern. So you have the freestyle Friday where you made the first one. Did
Mm-hmm.
you like end up publishing the pattern that you were happy with?
I think I put it on my blog,
Okay.
possibly. It might be on in my blog. I never re-recorded it. I have a very bad habit of making things, writing the patterns, and never doing anything with them.
Yeah.
It's a personal problem, but
I get it though.
so I'm over here doing all these things and they don't exist. if you don't, if you don't, what is that? There's an audio. If you don't publish your art, no one will see it. You have to publish your art so people will see it. I guess I don't know.
Um, I don't know. I don't agree with that. The thing is, like, art is like, it's it can be like you can make it for other people to consume and enjoy, yes, but like the fact that it's like a creative outlet, it's a therapy tool for some of us. It's like, it's something that we enjoy doing. Like, we don't exist, and Winter and I kind of talked about this. Like, it's like we don't exist solely for like the purpose of like creating things for other people. Like we
Exactly.
can like if we want to keep things to ourselves, and that's fine.
Yeah, I do that a lot. Like, I don't know. I'm a very private person. Not everything needs to be shared, you know?
Hmm.
So there'll be things like times I make things just to make things, just to make it, you know?
Yeah,
Not for content, just for it to exist because I like it.
yeah. I think that's a huge part of like keeping the joy in the craft for a lot of people is not like putting it all out there. For me, like sometimes I can't really like crochet unless I'm like on screen. Like once I move into a different space, like my brain just gets like, okay, now there's a situation now, and I'm just totally, you know, no idea what's going on. Um, but like that's what has been a challenge and why it's taken me so long to make progress on my like secret doll is because like I haven't been making it online and
Mm-hmm.
therefore it's really difficult to get motivation sometimes. Um, Even though, half of, you I know I slow down my crafting when I go live because I'm trying to like read the comments and
Mm-hmm.
respond and think. And so I don't know how people can be like and just respond to everything. I'm
Yeah,
always just like, how you are a wizard.
like a wizard. Um, I mean, yeah, that's why, like, even being like a chatty person, because I'm a very chatty person, I have to cut myself back and sit. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
I don't know. I type.
I'm a chatty person. Uh, I'm a chatty person when the camera's on, and then the minute the camera goes off, I'll type and stuff, but like I don't want to have to use my voice any more than I have to, and I'll stay quiet for like hours. But then I happen to marry like the person who talks maybe the most in the world,
Wow.
and so I've had to learn how to like get out of that headspace of like I can just go without talking and that's fine, because it like it doesn't make my wife happy.
There's nothing wrong with being chatty, you know?
No,
I
it's all
like,
about like reading the room. I think.
yeah. I've always enjoyed I've always been a very like more observant observer of people in conversation, so I tend to be less chatty, but as a person, you know what I mean, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm like, hey, I like
Yeah,
to give
people
people
watching and like watching like interactions is like very interesting. Like if two other people are watching, like more than half the time, I just like watch other people and I'm just standing there, like trying not to be creepy, but like just like taking in the interaction and taking in the information without feeling like I have to constantly respond. Because if I feel like I have to constantly respond, then half the time I'm listening to someone, I am trying to craft a response, and it's not that I don't want to listen to them, it's that I want to keep the
okay.
conversation moving. And I feel like I get really awkward the minute that people realize that I can't do that because I am an awkward person.
Yeah, I'm pretty awkward too, so I'm pretty awkward too. Hey, I don't know. Okay. Are you What part of the pattern are you doing? It looks like it's striping the yarn.
Yeah, so it's
Like
self
Chelsea.
striping yarn. Um,
It's already doing it.
and like honestly, winter has given me a lot more confidence to make like amigurumi with self striping yarn because they make stuff that looks so good. I'm like, I should just stop being so afraid of it, but I'm just a little baby. Um, but I am on the head portion. I think this is the top of the head. Um, so it'll be down like this. And then they did felt eyes, which honestly I don't really love the way that they look. So I might do like crocheted eyes. Like it doesn't look bad like per se, but like for what I want, I it's so they used like they just cut ovals
Mm.
and glued them on there, and I just have a lot of fear that like anything I glue onto crochet will fall off because I've had so much stuff fall off of my crochet work before, so I don't want to like try to sell something or make something and then just have it like fall apart in someone's hands. That's like
No, for sure.
big fear right there.
For sure. I think it's interesting. That is that what it says to do in the pattern is glue it?
That's what they said that they did. So let me see how they did the eyes.
Because you know me, I'll enable you and be like, here's some needle felting needles. Stab it.
I, I honestly I want to get some needle felting needles to like felt in my ends better because like I'm so bad about having my ends stick out, but like I just like I get so overwhelmed when I look for them on like Amazon or something because they're like packs of like 30, or there's like different ones where it's like multi like punch if you're because like some people like make like bigger art with um, uh, needle felting, so it's like big, and then some people just have like the single needle, and I'm like, I don't know what
Yeah.
I'm looking for or what size to get or anything. So let's see. So they said for the eyes, they said cut two oval shapes out of black felt. They said what their measurements were, and then make your eyes proportionate to the head. Uh, um, let's see. How does it just says glue on the eyes. A little glue goes a long way. If you use too much, it can bleed through the felt.
Mm.
So they might have said earlier in the book what kind of glue they prefer to use. Oh, so they said right here it says fab, fabric tack. It never, when I look at it, I'm like, that makes perfect sense to say it like that. But when I try to read it out loud, I'm like, no, it does not compute. But basically, fabric glue or hot glue. But I've tried hot gluing stuff on yarn before, and it's just fallen right off.
Yeah.
Especially with like an acrylic yarn. Unless you like, I mean, unless it like all melts together. But
It depends on how fast you place it too, because it could be very like bumpy if you glue it with, you know what I mean? Like hot
yeah,
glue can be very bumpy.
yeah, yeah. Hot glue is so like thick that it's hard to get it like smooth on there. Like
Hmm.
even if I did hot glue like felt onto it, I would still probably stitch around the sides just to make sure no like sides started to like peel up or anything like that
Yeah.
because I would just be so afraid of that. Can I
Oh,
share with you it? I think it's embarrassing. It might not be as embarrassing as I think. But I don't know. Can I share
sure.
something slightly embarrassing? So for years, I've been crocheting amigurumi inside out.
Okay.
Um, so
Embarrassing.
like instead of like, I have to be like really conscious of it still because like I'll be working from the inside to the outside instead of from the outside to the inside with my hook. And
Right.
so so you're just seeing the inside of my stitch or the backside of my stitches, which do look different and they're like less full looking than
Yeah. The
they
like
look different.
loose.
And then also when I was doing like invisible decreases, I would use the back loop, but I'd be inside out. So, or no, I would use a front loop only, but I would be inside out. So like my decreases look so extra bad. And I was like, why do my decreases always look like crap? And then I realized it was because I was working them inside out and totally wrong for years. Even the doll I'm making, I was crocheting most of it, of
It
course.
looks cool either way, though.
Thank you. I
I
appreciate it.
think.
I got this really interesting spam call today because like a lot of times like spam calls, they like the way that they talk to you is like a very specific, like ominous or like fear inducing way that they try to get your like information from you,
Hmm.
like people who try to get your credit card information or shit like that. And so like this person So first of all, they use my dead name, which either means it's like a debt collector or it's spam.
Mm.
And because like no one else uses that name unless it's like medical facility that for some reason they can't like look half a centimeter down to see that it says my preferred name. Um, so that does happen, like admittedly, but with this person, so they use my dead name, so that was kind of like a tip off of like, this isn't like a casual convo. And then the person, so I answered, this is Ian, and they asked for my dead name, and I was like, can I ask who's calling? And they said it's a private business matter, and they would only speak to the person identifying as the dead name. And I was like, okay, well, they're not here right now. And they just hung up. Like, okay, well, that was actually a lot easier than it usually is. So I guess that works out.
It's
A
like,
private
bye.
matter. Okay. I don't like, I don't know. Are you like an Etsy?
Yo, what do you need?
That's the only business I have.
A freaking spam caller. I hear they purchased this information.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That information gets sold.
Oh my gosh. Why is my phone, bro? Like, I can't win my phone right now. Sorry.
About
My sister just contacted me. We were supposed to go on Saturday to do some shopping, but she can't do it because of a reason. Anyways, I could just remove that from here. I'm like, come on, man. But yeah, I just don't answer the phone anymore because no one has my phone number anyway. And if it's like a medical thing, then they don't really call. So I'm just like, no one, no one call me, please.
you didn't see anything.
Nothing. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, the medical people are either like, here's a reminder call, or like, you owe blank blank this
Yeah.
much money. And I'm like, okay, cool. But like, whenever people call and they're like, whether they may or may not be actually from like a debt collector or that facility, I'm like,
Mm.
I don't feel comfortable. Like, I always say, there's so many scams out there. I don't know if this is a scam, so I don't want to give my information out. They're like, and people who like probably are legitimately calling, like for that reason, they'll be like, totally understand. Yeah, you can pay it online, and like
Hmm.
that's it. But if they push, I'm like, yeah, I know what you're doing.
Right. So, what color eyes are you planning on doing on the alien?
I'll probably do black with like maybe
Okay.
like a little white highlight. That's probably what I'll do. That's kind of my go-to. It's just a easy, easy way to do it. Um, and it'll stand out against all of these relatively light colors. You can see how the color changes, but I like that it's not just plain stripes. Like there is like some like it's just a more natural way of like color shifting, which I really really like the way it looks. So it's kind of like here's a sneak peek of the color that you're about to get, and then you get a big block of it. So it's nice, and it changes fast enough that I can get multiple colors in like one piece of the project.
Yeah. It's coming out really nicely. I
Thank you.
like it. I like it. I'm sorry.
How's your project coming along?
It's coming. It's a continuous like I think it's 11 rounds of just double crocheting, so it's super like, you know, one of those mind melt, like it's just easy to do. It's not, there's not a lot of thought process in it. So it's,
Yeah,
that's what
I
makes
love getting into that like groove. Although sometimes the groove can like hurt me if I just like I get so into it that I like, especially with like anything with like corners or sides or stuff like a,
it.
you know, when I was doing the granny hexagon cardigan, like it would be so easy to just get in the groove of just make a granny cluster, move on, make a granny cluster, move on, and then like I'd like work over my corners, or I'd like I wouldn't be paying attention, so I just like put a corner, like put two, um, put two clusters in one place that were not a corner, and I would just it sucked.
That made me check my corners really fast. I'm like, wait, wait, wait. Oops. No, because then I would have to frog back a lot. No. But this is just one double crochet into another double crochet, and then at the corners there is those, the increasing, but I feel it when I get there. I wonder if I lost my sight, if I would be able to crochet still. That's a weird thought. I think about that though.
I think about that sometimes
Morbid.
too. I mean, I know that there are quite a few just that I follow, so there has to be more. But like visually impaired or like
Mhm.
blind crocheters that I follow, and I'm always like amazed at how they do what they do. So it's not like it can't be done, but would I be able to do it? Who knows? Because
Right.
I like even being able to see my stitches, I still miss my stitches frequently enough that it's a problem. So,
Like exactly. That's why I'm like, wow, would I be able to do it?
mhm.
I mean, I think we'd be surprised by what we would try to do to crochet. No, I'm just kidding. Can I crochet? No, I guess I'm not going. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's like really just like it shows just how strong the human spirit is. Um, when like when different impairments and things would traditionally like hold us back from doing something we love, and how like sometimes people are able to overcome and just work through those, and they have to modify their process, but they're able to do it. You
Mm.
know, um, I know that's not always the case, and sometimes we do have to make sacrifices to things we enjoy and whatnot. But like, I'm always just like, it's just so amazing the people that we encounter on YouTube and just in our lives that you know when we think what we're doing is like barely possible, and we see other people encountering different things and how they are able to get through it.
Definitely. I mean, I've seen people crochet with their feet because they love to crochet
Wow.
so much. Yeah, they just learn how to do it with their feet. And I'm
That's
just like,
amazing.
wow, like, that's amazing.
Mhm. Yeah, I do know if that ever happened to me, my wife would never accept or touch anything I crocheted ever again. My wife hates feet so severely. She would not be down with that. She'd be like, "Nope, no, you're not.
No, no, no.
I'm not touching that. I'm not putting that hat you made just for me on my head."
I'll wash it.
Yeah, no, even then, it's like if it has anything, it's yeah, that's just a particularity of hers. Not a
That's,
not a fan of feet, which is okay. I don't I have like very few feelings towards feet, but I'm not so I'm not like I've got to have feet, uh, be an integral part of this relationship.
yeah, I think I saw something that someone put their foot somewhere, and I was like, no warning, bro. This is random, but like, what are we doing? Oh gosh. My sister doesn't like feet either. She she like really mad at me. I don't care. her. I'm so mean to her. Pass. No.
I don't know why I got to thinking about this. So like I have a friend who he's like I love him to death and he's such a dear friend of mine. But like some of the things that like throughout the years, like he's just a special type of dude. And one time he was like, "Oh my," he like was visiting us at our old apartment, and he was like, "Oh, like, do you mind if I use like your nail clippers?" And I was like, "Yeah, I guess." Like, that's a pretty weird ask when you're visiting your friend, but like, sure.
For the
Um,
nail clippers?
what?
He asked you for your nail clippers?
Yes. And
Cute.
then he
No, I'm just.
started clipping his toenails at our couch,
Mm,
and Mel was like, "I'm gonna throw up."
I'm
I was
gonna
like,
move.
honestly, I'm not doing too great either, if I'm being honest. Like that, but I
It's
love him, so
so.
that's not me
It's
shit talking.
so.
Just that's a weird choice, and I would a 0 out of 10 would not recommend.
Right. It's such a like. What if like? How comfortable?
Yeah, I'm glad I could make him feel so comfortable to do that. I wish I
Right.
didn't.
But feel comfortable enough to like be there for it. It's just like,
Yeah. Um, but then I was thinking, when I was thinking about that, I was thinking so at the place I used to work at, there used to be someone who worked there, and he was kind of on the Hot Mess Express, anyways. So, like, he didn't have to have far to exceed into like being like a full blown pain in everyone's ass. But apparently, he was like, because he was never working, he was always doing something else. Like, he was just like constantly like just like dropping the ball on everything. And but he used to, we had we had the cubicle system, and then we had like offices around the cubicle. The office was basically modified rectangle. And so my boss, her office was right outside of his cubicle, and I wasn't anywhere close to this, and I didn't find out about this until he got fired. Um, but apparently, um, he had like every like Tuesday or something, he would like ritualistically like clip his nails like in the office. And my old boss, who I don't know if she's like diagnosed OCD or just has a lot of like certain types of like body and germ things that she didn't you know fare well with.
mm-hmm.
Um, but like she would be like in her office, like gagging at the sound of him like clipping his nails at his desk. And because it wasn't like a one off thing, like, hey, I have a hangnail, let me like take care of this. It was like every week on the same day at the same time, he would like clip his nails. And like because he wasn't working, like so he was like he could just like I don't know how he got away with it for so long, honestly. Um, but the not working, not the nail clipping part. But I didn't find out until that was a thing until afterwards, and I was like, what a strange like like clipping your nails is not inherently gross or anything like that.
Right.
I don't think, but like, and I mean, it's a nails grow. You gotta trim them, or don't. Do whatever you want, I guess. But like to do it like at your work, and not only do it at work but like not do it in a restroom.
Mm-hmm.
If he had a ritual of like, yes, every Tuesday I'm gonna trim my nails, like going to the restroom or something would have been more appropriate, because it was like a corporate business environment, and he was like at his desk just like trimming his nails.
That's basically hilarious. Like, what a reason on the. Hey, got fired for cutting his nails.
Oh no, he didn't get fired for cutting his nails. He got fired because he didn't do his job at all.
Also, there was just
It was just an
No.
like, but when he got fired, my boss was like, my boss who was not his boss, like we were totally under separate people, and his boss was like, probably like 30 feet. Hit her boss. His boss's office was like 30 feet away from him at least, and she always had her door closed, so like she would have never heard it. But because my boss was like right there, she heard it all the time, like really, like on a schedule, and so the day after he got fired, and my boss was always like very professional, was not one to like super ultra professional, right? And like was not one to like speak about anyone else like in any way that was like, you know, not not professional. But
Mhm.
like she was like, oh my gosh, thank goodness, like I don't have to hear him trim his nails um every Tuesday. And I was like, wait, what? And then she told me, and I was like, oh, that's weird. I think it's weird. It's definitely not something I've grown accustomed to as, when I worked at any place.
There's definitely a time and place, right? I mean,
Yeah. Some things aren't gross inherently, but the place you do them can make them gross.
yeah.
Oh, and he would also floss at his desk. Again, a weird habit. I think.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with flossing, but
Yeah, that's a good thing to do. It's very healthy for you. But like, go into like a bathroom, like, and like, he, yeah, that was just a very weird thing.
it's interesting.
Yeah. But if I ever needed floss, I always knew I could go to him. Like if I like ate lunch and I was like, I feel like I have something in my teeth and I have like a Zoom call in like 5 minutes. Hey, can I get some floss?
Get that floss,
And like the
please.
first time I asked him, he was like, how do you know I always have floss? And I was like, really? Like,
Dude,
you
he
have floss
thinks
because you floss at your
people
desk.
can't see him. People can't see me doing these things.
But even if you couldn't see it, you can like floss generally makes some kind of sound sometimes,
Like a squeak. Like a squeak.
like yeah,
The sound of floss. I don't know. Was it flavored like mint? Those are the best flosses.
yeah, it was like mint. I don't think he got real fancy with it, but he still had floss,
I
which
feel like I need to floss after this.
me too. Honestly, now I'm like, oh shit, I brushed my teeth, but I didn't floss earlier today. Damn it.
I have those little floss, little holdable floss
Mhm.
thingies. So you just use what you need, basically.
Yeah, my mom's a dentist, so I really should be better about flossing than I am, but I
That's cool.
I'm not.
What kind of did you have like? Can I ask? Did she let you have candy when you were growing up, or was she like a
Oh yeah, like
hardcore?
yeah, it wasn't like a like she wasn't like she was like very like you should brush your teeth, like stuff like that. But like once I got older, like she stopped. Like she didn't like. Once I got old enough to like be able to handle like a bedtime routine by myself, like it wasn't like she was trying to like control that. I think she was trying to get so many people to floss at work that she was like, I'm not coming home and trying to force someone to floss too. So, which is understandable. um, but and yeah, and so yeah, she wasn't like you can't have candy or anything like that. Like when I had braces, like she was pretty lax even about like even though she didn't put on the braces because she's an orthodontist, but like she, um, if I wanted like popcorn, she wouldn't be like you can't have popcorn. It's you shouldn't have it with your thing. But I had to learn all those lessons the hard way. Like when the orthodontist gives you instructions like, hey, don't eat candy apples. Like some lessons you got to learn the hard way. Why you can't eat candy apples with braces.
Learns by doing.
Yeah.
Candy apple. Yeah, because it'll stick to you. I was just thinking, like, I don't know, thinking about Willy Wonka and his parents were dentists, and they were like, no, no candy. And then he's
Has that
like,
movie come out already?
I think yeah, but I'm thinking about the Johnny Depp one where
Oh, yeah.
they're like, no candy. So he's like, why, Papa? And he starts making candy. That's the
Yeah,
summary
that's
of that
interesting.
movie.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to become a candy maker due to the fact that my mom's a. Yeah, my mom's not into the candy. Um, but like the only thing I will say, the only thing that my mom was like vehemently against was Mountain Dew. That was like the one thing we could
No,
not do because it had just so much sugar in it. Like we could have sodas and we could drink sodas all day long. In fact, that's kind of
mhm.
what we did. But like if we had Mountain Dew, it was just like next level. Like you cannot do it. She was so against it,
She's
and I
like,
think part
Mountain,
of
don't.
that.
I'm just
What?
kidding. Mountain, don't. I'm the worst. I had to interrupt for that. That's so dumb.
I interrupt all the time. That's fine.
You're like Mountain Dew,
It's
Mountain
fine.
Dew, and doom doom. Is wrong.
um, but like because we're because we're in the South, obviously like sugary drinks are popular everywhere, but like in the South, like we have reputations of not having a lot of teeth and stuff like that. So,
Sweet tea.
but my mom, the area that she worked in previously, was a little bit more rural. So, like, just having people like keep their teeth into like later years in their life was like her main goal, because like people would just like be like chugging Mountain Dew and like and just like have like so much like decay and stuff rotting their teeth. So she was like, that was like the only thing that's like you can never have Mountain Dew. Even
Yeah,
though like I would occasionally have like a Mountain Dew like Baja Blast at like Taco Bell, and that was fine. But like we like never like had it in the house or anything like that. It was just like if you want to have it like occasionally, because like you can't it's kind of like a rule you can't not have Baja Blast when you eat taco,
yeah,
especially
yeah.
when, like because like being in a smaller town, like it was like one of the three places you could go for like lunch when you went to school if you went off campus for lunch, which I didn't most of the time, but if people did, like um, that's where they went. So it was just like it was such like a foundational part of like the community that like you had to have Baja Blast. Like it just makes your tacos and your burritos taste better.
Yeah.
Have your authentic Mexican food.
Your authentic Mexican food. I mean, Taco Bell's not bad. It tastes pretty. I don't really go for Taco Bell, but my husband likes Taco Bell in a pinch. And he does like the sodas. Like they have a lot of different like varieties at Taco Bell that they don't have any everywhere else really. Like the Baja Blast and there's this other purple one that they started selling. But I figure what it's called. I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I haven't tried the purple one, but yeah, honestly I don't really go into Taco Bells anymore. Like, I'll do like a drive-through moment every once in a while if I'm like out and want to treat myself for like being brave and getting out. But like, I know that there's a lot of people who don't like it because they basically take like the same like six ingredients and just like make it in a bunch of different ways. But that doesn't make it stop tasting good. And honestly, like I love beans. Like beans are easily one of my favorite foods, and I could eat them prepared almost any way. So
Yeah.
like Taco Bell is the fast food place that has beans. Like not many fast food places have beans. I guess like Chipotle does now, but Chipotle always like tears up my stomach and makes me want to just like
Oh no.
yeah. I mean it's a travesty. Do you know how hard it is being this white and being not liking Chipotle? It's like it's like a hate crime. I shouldn't joke about hate crimes; they're not funny. But I'm just joking about being white and stereotypes.
You're good. I get you.
Um, but but yeah, it's I yeah, I mean like their ingredients aren't like bad. And I do know that they're owned by McDonald's, but
Yeah.
I don't think it's food poisoning because other people have eaten like the same thing that I did and didn't get sick. I just think something about something that they're doing just makes my stomach go like, ha ha. I don't know what it
Mm-hmm.
is. I don't have that problem anywhere else, but no, Chipotle, you're not for me. Occasionally, I'm like, I give in to peer pressure and I just eat Chipotle, but I never enjoy it. Never, it's never a joy filled experience for me.
I don't know if we have. I used to go to Chipotle a little bit more than I do now. And there was this one time we ordered, and I can't even. But there was like a broken glass inside the food, dude, and I was just like, ever since then, huge turn off. Like, I don't
Yeah,
know what happened. We let them know, like, hey, you guys might have some like pieces of glass in your food
yeah,
because that could kill you. That could
yes.
unalive you there. So
Oh,
that's
that's so crazy.
it
Yeah,
wasn't even my food.
I'm very sensitive to like when I find things in food, like anything, like that's a big like usually like if that happens to me or if I get food poisoning from a place, like generally I can't eat at that place afterwards. Just
Yep.
part of my like eating disorder that I have. Um, and like growing up with like a level of like food insecurity. Um, where like things, well, I won't get into details because it'll gross me out. And then I won't eat for the rest of the day. Um, but what was I saying? Um, but like Taco Bell, have I gotten food poisoning from Taco Bell several times? Well, I think maybe two times in my whole life. Yes. But like now I know what like I'm most likely to like feel bad after eating or get food poisoning from like
Mm-hmm.
most of the time. Like for me, like I don't trust their ground beef. You can't make me trust it. I've seen too many people get sick off of it. I've gotten sick off of it. We just don't play those games anymore. But like I said, like the beans, I've got to have the beans. I love
Mm-hmm.
beans.
Like the bean burritos and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or like yeah, just like honestly, I'm like one of those people that like if I like was surviving on red beans and rice, like I
Mm-hmm.
would be like, this is awesome. I love it.
I
Just
love it.
like let me have some hot sauce. That's my only request.
Clearly, I'm Hispanic, so I agree with these things completely. And
Yes, you are forced to.
it is tradition. Tradition. I don't know.
Okay, so speaking of general Hispanic things,
Sure.
so did you? I can't remember if we've talked about this. Have you watched Brooklyn Nine-Nine?
I haven't. No, but I
It
do
is
like.
really funny, and I did not expect it to be as funny as it was. So there is a super mega hottie. Her character is Rosa, and her name, the actress's name is Stephanie Beatrice. Beatrice. I'm not quite sure. It's like Beatrix, except it has a C at the end instead of the X. So it's like
I have to
I.
look her up.
Yeah. But she's gorgeous and she's also like the super badass like in the show, like her like character is like this like tough, like kind of like um no nonsense, like no smiles, just like deadpan character. Like all like very villain energy. Very villain
I
energy.
like that. No, I'm just kidding.
So like she gives the vibe, right? And I'm into it. But I just found out recently that she did the voice, not just the speaking voice.
Maribel.
Yeah, of
It's
Maribel.
I recognize the name, but I wasn't like fully sure. Really, because I know who that is. Then.
Yeah, and I'm
This
like,
is our
oh my
home.
gosh, can you please stop being my dream woman? Other than Mel, of course. She's so hot.
I love her voice. She's got such a quirky
It's
voice.
so cute.
Very, yeah.
And like any given day, like at least every other day, we don't talk about Bruno is sung in this house.
I was obsessed with that movie when it came out. I'm pretty sure my neighbors hated me after a certain, because we shared, like, we were in an apartment building, so like you could hear upstairs and downstairs. And I'm just
I
playing the movie over and over again.
when I watched the movie the first time in Kanto, um, I was like not like totally sold on like the like in the first half, but once we don't talk about Bruno, everything changed, and I just was like, this is maybe the most cute movie ever made, um, and yeah, I'm just obsessed with it. And now I've watched it like 1.5 million times, and I'm always super like excited about it. And then I finally, I hate to like lump like all Hispanic cartoon movies together, but it just reminded me because we've been wanting to watch Coco for a really long time,
Ooh, yes.
but like I just like we just kept on like not like we'd be like, oh, we're gonna watch it tonight, and then be really late and it'd be like too late to start a movie and all that. So it took us a long time to start watching Coco. But oh my gosh, that movie is so cute. It's oh, I just it's adorable.
It is. He's a lot older now too. The voice
Yeah,
actor too.
which
Was
I'm like, it like doesn't make sense in my brain because to me Coco came out like last year, and then he's like, "This is what I sounded like when I saw the video." He was, I think he was like, uh, "This is what I sounded like when I was singing this at like 6 or like whatever,
Mhm.
however old he was," and then he's like 14, 15, something. I don't know. I'm messing up numbers left and right, but
Yeah,
like
he's old. Yeah, a little bit
but
old.
like now he's gone through like puberty, and I'm just like, you're not allowed to be that old. Like this is not, and not that it's like that's an old age, but you're not allowed to have like grown up past like when you did this voice, and it's freaking me out, dude.
I know, right? It makes me kind of think about like the kid who voiced Finding Nemo. Like, what does he sound like now? Because his voice was little. Like, they actually get those. Um, I don't know. People growing up and their voices changing. So,
Yeah,
maybe.
it's really interesting because like I mean I can't express enough how I do not want to get into Nickelodeon stuff. Um,
Hmm.
but like because that's like I can't. But when like a lot of those shows when like um I was growing up and a year younger than me, but like Rugrats and stuff like that, like all of the babies voices were voiced by adults, so when you
Hmm.
see the person, first of all you're like, wait, that person made a baby voice, but then they don't really like age that much like in like a couple years, so it like doesn't, it's not as jarring like the second or third time you see who voiced the character. But then having like a child actually have voiced a child's voice and watching them grow up, that hurts my brain.
I love that. It does, right? It's like, it's very, like, confusing. It really is
Mhm.
to the mind. Like, watching a person grow up. Like, I love The Walking Dead, and watching Carl grow up was weird, because it just
Yeah,
happens right before your eyes.
I never watched that show. I think I maybe have seen the first episode like 3 times, like over trying to like start the series, but like I didn't really watch it. I know I should and I want to, but like I just haven't. Um, so I need to get on that train because zombies don't scare me. In the sense that I can watch zombie movies and shows without fear. I'm a big baby with a lot of like horror type stuff, but zombies aren't in that category
Yeah.
for me. Thankfully, because at least I can watch something. And now there's like a 50 million spin-off shows for that. We
Yeah.
also got some of the comic books for The Walking Dead. that
Yeah.
I've read a little bit more of.
The
Um,
comic books are more gruesome
yeah.
and heartbreaking for sure, though.
Mhm.
And some of the characters in the actual TV show don't exist in the comic books, but
That's always so like, oh, please, just like bring that character in, please. But I understand like when you
so
have to think about
expensive.
like show structure and just like the value of like time,
Yeah,
it's different, I suppose.
definitely. I mean, like Daryl doesn't exist in the comic books, and he's very, yeah, important to the storyline.
I think he's like half the reason that a lot of people watch the show, right?
Yeah, and he doesn't even exist. He's a made up person.
Um, yeah, I definitely have to read more of that because I do want to read more of that.
It's definitely,
I have to read more of that because I definitely want to read more of that. That's what I just said.
yeah.
So we were nervous about how you talk and like listen to the kind of shit I say. So I just finished the head and finished. It looks like a little balloon, like a little floppy balloon. But the color changes, I'm like really surprised that I like them because I never think about self striping yarn when it comes to making amigurumi. So thank you, Winter, for being inspirational in many senses. I feel like this is like just a little cute balloon. Just like,
Ooh,
I was gonna say it could be a sperm, but it doesn't really. It's a little disproportionate.
it's
It
not going
would
any.
not swim very well.
It
This would be
tried.
last to the finish. Um, but I think that's probably a good point for me to call it a day with this particular project. So do we have any thing that we want to? Oh wow, you've made so much progress. It looks great.
Yeah, I don't know how much. I hope I didn't overshoot because then I have the frog. I was just crocheting.
I do the thing that I was just like, oh, I went past it. I'm like leading up to the point that I need to like get to make something. I'm like, oh, this is gonna take forever. And then like I stop paying attention and I just like crochet without thinking, and then I shoot past the mark.
Uh,
Um, but anything else you feel like you need to cover today?
No, I'm okay. I think we did. It was fun. We
Yeah.
covered a lot of topics.
Yeah, all very important, very critical to how people live their lives. So I'm glad. I'm always happy to have you on here. Sorry about my mistake for
You,
the other video we tried to make, which made
it's
me
okay.
so sad because it was so fun. Today was fun also, but like it was so much fun, and I had such a good time. I won't speak
Me
for you.
too.
And then like to like have like half the audio be missing,
Give me
I'm
a
just
second.
like this this poopy.
Sorry, my kiddo walked in.
No worries. But yeah, so hopefully this will continue to work and it won't be a problem in the future.
For
But yeah,
sure.
so I hope everyone watching and listening has a great day or night. Keep crafting, and if you're not a crafter and you just like to listen to other people or watch other people craft, that's cool too. Whatever floats your boat. But yeah, we'll see you on the next one. Thanks, Crystal. Bye.
Thanks for having me.